Welcome everybody to the special edition of Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host as always, LitecoinLeader. Today we're talking about a very important topic, which is why I have guests for the very first time on the show. I actually have three. Let me introduce them to you. First, let's start with PapaJo. PapaJo?
Hey everybody. PapaJo, Joshua. You guys know me on Ben's Telegram. Kind of also have a lot of fun with the crypto stuff and around security. Glad to be here.
Welcome, Josh. I appreciate that, PapaJo. And DiviDaddy, please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm DiviDaddy. I think a lot of you've met me, but I'm just a regular dad who loves Divi.
There we go. He knows a lot more than we talk about. You'll find out that a little bit more about that in a minute. So, and then finally, last but not least, Tim Brown.
Hey everyone, I'm Tim Brown. Together with DiviDaddy, Patrick, we're co-founders of ProBitcoinSolutions.com. Currently, our most popular service right now is cryptocurrency recovery. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to share some tips on crypto security. So thanks for having me, Jeff.
Oh, you're welcome, and plugging already. I love it. Okay, so
Yes,
we're going to jump right into the questions. We've had a lot of questions come in from Telegram and a few other people that we know, and working in the Capri Sun. I love it, DiviDaddy. Got to get that plug in too. All right. So the first topic we're going to talk about is wallets and holding your own crypto. So some of the things we talk about in crypto is we talk about being your own bank, not your keys, not your coins. So what are the challenges with that? Patrick, can you start? Like, is it safe to hold your own crypto?
Yes. I mean, right? It depends. The answer is, where are you at in your crypto journey? How much are you putting in? And how long you're holding and what your strategy is. It depends on the coin. I mean, there's just so many variables. You can, so yes, you can safely hold your own crypto.
Absolutely. And Josh, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think that as long as you take the proper precautions and kind of have, do a really good assessment of your risk tolerance and make sure that, like DiviDaddy said, making sure that you don't have too much in there. If you want to, spread it around, don't put it all in one spot kind of thing. But yeah, it's safe to hold your own cryptos. It's not a bad thing to do that. Just make sure that you educate yourself on what you're doing.
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess the really other good way is saying, like, can you hold your own cash?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing as that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Right. How much do you want to hold in your wallet or under your mattress? It's a different question for everybody.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement there. It's within reason and with proper measures. So speaking of those measures, Tim, what are your thoughts on it? And what are your thoughts on the top two wallet devices out there, like Trezor and Ledger?
Yeah, exactly. So Ledger and Trezor, they're both examples of what would be called a hardware wallet. So hardware wallets are generally considered the most safest way to store any type of cryptocurrencies. And the reason for that is the private keys, which is what actually lets you spend your coins. Those are stored securely on a hardware wallet so that they can never leave the device. So that's what sets them apart from like laptops and, phones and stuff. So Ledger and Trezor are definitely the two biggest names out there in the hardware wallet space. So you can't really go wrong choosing a product from either of them.
Absolutely. But one of the caveats that I always like to tell people is that with those being so popular, they're also very popular with hackers. So sometimes people want to consider other devices like laptops. So let's talk about laptops for a minute. Our friend Bitcoin Ben and Patrick have made a company called Solutions. They talk a lot about crypto-only laptops. So Patrick, can you tell me a little bit about the difference between a Calyx laptop and a traditional laptop for holding your crypto?
Well, first of all, let's step back. Let's differentiate the Patricks. So there's Patrick Condon and Bitcoin Ben, who are responsible for Calyx. And there's DiviDaddy, me, the other Patrick. So at the end of the day, I'm not part of Calyx, but what I can say is I know that the people behind Calyx Solutions, Bitcoin Ben and Patrick, these guys have a heart of gold. Their goal is to help all of these people get up on crypto in a way that's not on, how does Ben say it? A keychain that plugs into your laptop where your son takes the laptop in the bathroom and does stuff. It's like, sure, of course you don't want to put your crypto on that laptop. So if you're going to be doing crypto using a Calyx laptop, I think it's a very good way to hold your crypto. But again, my question is, how much are you okay holding? I think especially for the beginners, a laptop like theirs, I know they do certain security protocols. And to be honest, I'm not as smart as Patrick Condon. I have not had his experience, in software or engineering or what he does. But I do know that they do things to try to mitigate some of the risks that we're going to talk about tonight. And one of the biggest things that they send out is like a tips of do's and don'ts, which we'll probably address most of those tonight as well. So it has nothing to do with like what the Calyx laptop does or what any other laptop does. It really has to do with who's sending it to you. I don't trust everybody else. And if I was going to get a laptop and I didn't know where to get one from, I'd go to Calyx because I know they're not going to put stuff on there that's going to harm my laptop. That's just not who those guys are. So it is a great strategy for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll refer to you in the rest of the broadcast as DiviDaddy to be clear. But yes, Patrick Condon is the partner with Bitcoin Ben for Precautions. So let's just be 100% clear there. And I do agree they both. I met both personally. They have hearts of gold. They have everyone's best interest at heart.
Yeah.
So
flat out.
To those laptops a little bit. What if let's say you're new to crypto and you have your own laptop or buy a brand new laptop? Are there things that you can do with that laptop in lieu of getting one from, say, like a third party like Calyx? Are there measures you can take to make that laptop be crypto only and be secure?
Yeah, you can pretty much take any other laptop you have that maybe you're not using, as long as you wipe the hard drive and or replace it with a fresh new one and reinstall the operating system on it. I know it's a little more technical, but that ensures that the laptop is a clean environment for your cryptos. Kind of do the same thing with the mobile device or or an iPad or something like that. As long as the device or the environment in which the cryptos are stored is clean, as in it's never been to any nefarious websites, that it's never been to, as Ben talks about, your children have touched it, done things with it, played games on it, things like that. Just make sure that the device and the environment is clean that you're storing it on, and then keep it offline. Most wallets don't have to be online. You put it in there and turn it off, and it's going to be there when you turn it back on. Make sure you back up your private keys, though. No matter what you do, back up your private keys. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah.
Absolutely, and we have to touch on private keys and all that stuff. But speaking about private keys, there's a particular coin that gets a lot of attention lately because of how difficult it is to obtain in the U.S. and how, but it's involved in staking. So I know, Tim, you've been involved in some of the Theta wallets. So if you have a wallet and you have a Theta Keystore file or a private key, are there certain measures you want to take with monitoring Theta and how you manage it on your own laptop?
Yes, there is. So Theta is not mine, number one cryptocurrency in terms of familiarity, but it definitely uses like the same seed phrase and keys derivation that you generally have. So when you create a Theta wallet, especially if you're doing it on a laptop, they're going to give you a seed phrase. It's typically 12 to 24 words. So that you'll definitely want to write down somewhere that's not on an electronic device. You'll want to keep that somewhere secure because that's really serving as your master key, as your backup in case anything goes wrong. And then what you'll also get is what's called a Keystore file. And so this Keystore file is encrypted along with your password, which you'll need both of them to access your wallet to spend your funds. So generally, as Josh was saying, as long as that laptop, the operating system has been reinstalled, or that no viruses or malware are on there, then there is no real risks besides that to storing your Keystore file on it. The main risk would be uploading that Keystore file to some sort of third-party unofficial scam wallet sites or something like that. That would be the main risk to uploading that Keystore somewhere you shouldn't.
I would even go as far as saying, be careful with cloud drives and stuff like that. You saw iCloud get hacked, and I'm sure that other ones. Technically, from a security perspective, you have to operate on the premises that you have been hacked, or you are compromised, or you for sure will be. You just got to be mindful of where you keep it. Keep it offline, print it off, put it in a safe. Write it down on a piece of paper, put it in a safe. Those are two very easy ways to keep it safe and secure. If you want to keep a digital copy, if you create it in a clean environment, and when you create the file, make sure that the device is completely offline while you're creating the file, and then encrypt the file. And then you can go on your way after that, pull it off on the USB and then put the USB in a safe, whatever. Stuff like that is a very, very good way to keep your keys safe.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to skin the cat, but the number one thing is you don't give out your private keys. You keep everything. You keep your seed words. You don't share. You don't let anyone have access to your funds that can just jump in there and get on the blockchain and steal your assets. So, speaking of stealing of assets, we've all heard of we've all seen and heard about some horror stories, and we've had some incidents and near incidents. And there was a couple of hero stories that have happened recently. So, DiviDaddy, can you tell us a little bit about some of the recent things that have happened with Theta and Recovery lately?
Tim, like, bro, you know, Tim's the brains behind it. I have to say, he actually will. I'm gonna actually pass it off to you. All I can say is my daughter has some lucky fingers that Tim and I don't understand. Other than that, Tim, I'm gonna let you talk about it, because from a understanding on the perspective of where we look at the blockchain to get to what we're getting, without giving too many of our pro Bitcoin solution secrets, right?
Yeah.
Tell them what we need to know that helps them understand the story of how it was compromised, I guess, and what happened with that.
Yeah, sure thing. So it's been an awesome couple weeks here, you know, in terms of the success that we've had with some of our clients. Specifically, you know, we'll have clients every so often that send funds to the wrong wallet, or, you know, they kind of get locked out of their funds, but there's never usually a time crunch in the way that we've had with two of our recent clients, which recently came to us because their Theta wallets had been compromised. And in Theta, you're allowed to stake the Theta with a node, like a Guardian node or an Edge node, that can help you earn rewards in terms of like this currency called T-Fuel. So what can happen is, generally, if a hacker gets access to your keys, they can spend all your funds immediately. But with Theta, if they want to unlock your funds, it takes a period of, you know, 2 or 3 days. That's a manual waiting period that you have to wait before those funds are released to you. So what happened with these two clients was, you know, one of them, I think, got phished and ended up giving the keys out to a website that seemed to be like a seed validator or generator site. And then another one, unfortunately, was taken with some scammers that I think were impersonating Theta Labs or Theta Foundation. So what happened there, all the Theta that was in their wallet was drained immediately that wasn't staked. But then majority of their funds were in a stake. And then, so when they realized what was happening, they, I'm sure, scoured the internet in a panic, as, you know, it was a large amounts of money. Like, we're talking in terms of US dollars, like a 6 figures amount. So what ended up happening is, when they got in contact with us, we made a game plan where we got as many people as we could. Like, we're talking at least a dozen people for each time. And of course, Patrick, and, you know, he had all his kids there. They all had a device, each one did. I mean, the second time he was at a theme park, right? And he took time out of his day, and his entire family came through to help us. And, you know, my brother was there, my mom was there, like anyone I could get to help. Because our strategy was basically, you know, let's target the exact second that these funds unlock and get the funds out of that wallet as quickly as possible. And so both times, thankfully, you know, we ended up being successful. And the second time, the hackers had even transferred an extra $40 into the wallet, right, as we were withdrawing.
Yeah, they gave us T-Fuel back that they took from them initially. That was funny.
Yeah, it's like, you can't make this stuff up. But it was just awesome to be able to help both of these clients with recovering Theta that was, I guess, you know, staked in a Guardian node and was about to be stolen, like split seconds timing there. It's something out of an action movie almost, right?
Those are great stories. And I think some of the moral story we'll get to in a minute, but I think, Josh, you were involved in that last recovery. Were you watching it as well?
Yeah, I was watching just to kind of see the transaction take place, and I had my devices up trying to pop it as well at the same time. But Patrick's daughter's got magic fingers, so yeah, it worked out that way. It worked out real well. I was just watching, just kind of see the process and how it went down. So it was very, very, very interesting. Actually, it was really amazing to see that take place. Y'all did a really good job. Very impressed.
Absolutely. And I think it's important. There's two important things to note here. One, it's important to have a resource like Tim and DiviDaddy at ProBitcoinSolutions. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. ProBitcoinSolutions.com would be the site.
Get that plug in there. So a ProBitcoinSolutions, have someone like that available if the situation arises. So you have someone to call, and you can contact one of us and we'll get in touch with Tim or DiviDaddy and get you some help. But you've got to have someone like that in case you do make a mistake. And mistakes, we've all made mistakes. Mistakes happen. But one of the things you need to know about, if you're seeking help or you're unsure, stop, pause, don't do anything. Don't give out your keys. And make sure, if you're seeking help on the particular coin, make sure you know exactly where that helpline is. Like we're Divi, we know that they have a Telegram group for their support. But Theta has Discord, not Telegram. So Telegram's all fishers. Don't go there. You have
Anyone
to,
who reaches out on Telegram that is Theta, they are going to rob you. That is their only intent, unless they're reaching out to warn you that someone is going to rob you. Don't reach out to Theta on Telegram. You're going to get scammed, and then you're going to have to pay us money to get your money back. And we may
That's-
not get it.
Say the best way to go and figure out if you need help. Go to the project's website, scroll down to the bottom. They're going to have where you can get help from them. They'll have their Discord or their Telegram. They'll have their Facebook or their Twitter. They'll have their handles. So if you want to make sure that you don't get scammed by going and randomly picking one out there on yourself, because there are fakes, you go to the project's website and find it directly from there, and it will be linked from there. That will make sure you get to the right help the correct way.
Or if you have no idea if you're going to the right place, I guarantee you, myself, PapaJo, Tim, LitecoinLeader, any of us would easily answer the question of, no, this sounds not legit. Who is it? Let us know. We're going to reach out to the projects and let them know that there's this person scamming them so they can block them from their channels. But we need to help each other out. You guys need to speak up. That's the only way we learn from each other.
absolutely. And I will guarantee that this will happen again as soon as Theta pumps, because when Theta pumped above $10, I saw the different Telegram. There was like dozens of Theta groups that were just popping up and just adding people and scamming left, right, and center. So it's going to happen again. So take precautions now. Know ahead of time when there's the next bull run on all these coins, it's going to happen again. So take proper precautions. Make sure you have ProBitcoinSolutions bookmarked and know where the right helplines are. So, and I know that you need to, like, sometimes you do need help to go reach out and figure out how to stake coin, because that is another revenue that area that everyone's looking at. You have your coins, you want to stake them. It's the next way to get passive income. So Josh, when we're looking at a coin like Theta, what are some of the things that you can do for a security standpoint if you want to stake and you want to create a node and start making that passive income and getting extra coins?
So with Theta, if I'm not mistaken, you actually can delegate your coins to the node. And then basically from that point, you're earning a residual based off of what you've staked. And then the thing is with that, there are multiple nodes out there that you can point your coins to and stake with them. Just make sure you do your research on the project behind the nodes, right? Make sure that they have the proper security on their infrastructure. Make sure that they have all of their I's crossed and T's dotted on how they've documented their support if you need help, that kind of stuff. Those are kind of things that you just need to really kind of look at before you go and put your money with something, because someone can easily nefariously stand up a node and then take everything out of it, you know? So you just have to make sure. And then Theta as a project, they do a good job at vetting out what they allow in the network. They do go through a process to make sure that you're not going to do that, right? But that doesn't mean that the node improperly set up could end up being compromised on the back end. Just like I mentioned before, iCloud, it's Apple, they got hacked, right? It doesn't matter at the end of the day how much you're only as secure as today, right? You have to have a specific risk tolerance. Tomorrow, someone's going to try to get in and they're going to try and do their best to figure out the newest, best way. And then you just have to make sure that you kind of stay on top of your security protocols with your devices that you're using to stake with. And then you have to make sure that whoever the project or the company or whoever is hosting the node has done a good job making sure that they have all their security holes plugged, you know, that kind of stuff. That's typically what I do as a rule of thumb, just to make sure you do your research on it. It's no different than doing a research on an actual coin. So it's not just Theta, any one of the ones you can stake. Just go make sure that when you're staking it or you have a node or something like that, make sure that you have done your research on how they've configured their servers. And a lot of times they have that documented somewhere. You can reach out to them directly and say, hey, I want to talk to someone. How is this secured? And then if you feel comfortable with it, go ahead and put it in there and then move on.
Yeah, there's lots of products out there that offer staking and rewards, and they all do them a little bit differently. So you need to be cautious about it and make sure you do your right homework. Either consult with one of us or do your own homework. But there are different ways to do it. But make sure you do your homework and take the proper precautions. But Tim, I'm going to turn this one over to you. We had a question come in from what do you want to do as far as like, you know, when you're staking for like a minimum node for 1,000 Theta or 10,000 T fuel, that could be a large sum for a lot of people, for certain. how do you make the proper precautions before you set up that node?
So that brings up an interesting question. And I know that more generally, you definitely always want to do test transactions, right? Anytime you're
Yes.
sending money anywhere, you know, so many mistakes that we've seen from clients, some we can help them, some we unfortunately can't. A lot of them would have been prevented by simply sending a test transaction for a smaller amount ahead of time. Now, specifically for Theta that you mentioned, it's interesting in the Theta network how the staking process works. In fact, when you stake or delegate your funds to a node, the funds never actually leave your wallet. So specifically for Theta network, now I'm not sure about every coin, like I know Cardano's a big staking coin, but I'm not familiar with all of them. But in this case, you wouldn't have any risk staking to a node, even if it was compromised. The only negative thing they could do would be to unstake your coins, in which case they would return to your own wallet. So in the Theta network, there is no counterparty risk with delegating your funds to a node. But please, every time you send money, especially if it's a large amount, you definitely want to make a test transaction first to make sure those funds can come through successfully. And that's about all there is to it.
Yeah, I think that's great. Those are great points. Anybody else want to add to that before I talk about some other opportunities for security?
Yeah, just in terms of staking, just to remember that not all staking nodes are created equal. Just because one Cardano staking node is offering one rate of return, the other one may also be a Cardano staking node where they've written it into the way that specific node works, where they get most of the fees generated. So for example, you may not get as much T fuel back or as much Cardano rewards back as you were expecting because you stake to a wallet that tries to mimic something else that is a legitimate node, but they actually take all your fees. So not all coins are created equal. Not all blockchains are created equal. The tokenomics on every coin is different, and the method for staking your coins and withdrawing your coins. For example, as we talked about, Theta takes 2 to 3 days, whereas Divi is instant.
Yep, it is.
Go ahead, Josh.
I was just agreeing with what he's saying. Yes, that's correct. Sorry.
So there's lots of different ways to do it out there. And one of the first ways that Theta actually put it out there, their first wallet was actually a mobile wallet. And a number of projects are actually launched a number of mobile wallets. And so you can run a number of coins and host them on your cell phone. So I know that Theta has done it. I know that Divi has done it. So Patrick, what are your thoughts on hosting or using a cellular device of some kind for hosting some of your coins?
I hated the idea until you released your video about removing the SIM card and doing it hot wireless, because you actually create your own hot wallet, which then you might as well just make an iPad. So at the end of the day, a phone or an iPad is just a mini computer. And I guess, especially if you have an Android device and you know what to do with it, someone like PapaJo, has ideas that I don't even understand with devices like that. So I guess the possibilities are limitless. I don't have any issues running Divi mobile wallet, because when you're running a masternode for Divi mobile wallet, the keys are not stored on the device. You write them down, you put them in a fireproof bag that costs $10 off of Amazon, and you bury it, hide it, put it in a safe. I don't care what you do with it. I don't need to know, but no one else will be able to take it. And if they do take your phone, it's a very easy thing, even if you do lose your device, because they're not going to be able to get through all the biometric features that you have to do. And in that turn, you could even turn off your phone, recover your wallet. So in my opinion, your phone for certain applications and use cases are an appropriate way to handle some of your cryptos. But again, would I launch a copper node on my phone? Possibly. Would I launch a diamond node on my phone?
Yeah, it's a lot of money. So for me, like I've done a lot of different research on this because I was thinking about producing a device myself from a managed service perspective, which that's the verdict is still out on that for me. So that's not something I'm kind of focusing on right now. But basically, if you take an iPod or an iPad or an iPhone, I personally like the Apple devices the most, because if the device ever gets lost or stolen, it's very easy to wipe it, because if someone ever does turn it back on, if they have it, it's wiped as soon as it hits the network. It's just, it's pretty very
It's
locked
the
down.
Mac ID of that device. It can never be used again.
Correct. It's bricked completely. They will literally brick it. What that means in technical term is it will literally be unusable. That's kind of my thing around that. If I'm going to do a offline or hardware wallet, it's going to be a device that is going to be something that I put the coins on, turn it off, put it in a safe, that kind of thing. I'll bring it back on, make sure it's updated and patched every once in a while, that kind of stuff. But that's something you can do to make sure that they stay safe. Just make sure, again, private keys, seed phrases, back them up. The moment you install the wallet, don't put anything in it. Write the keys down first. Put them somewhere safe first.
And if anyone ever asks you for anything to do with these keys, guys, it should feel gross. You should feel violated.
You should feel like someone's asking for your bank account.
Hey, can I get in bed with your wife while you're gone? It should feel like that bad. There's no reason anyone needs those words unless they want access to move your funds without your permission. That is it. If you need it yourself, it's for a recovery purpose. And if you do get in that position, let someone know. We'll point you in the right direction. But don't get on Telegram and say, how do I recover my Divi wallet? Because someone will respond to you and they'll try to help you for sure. Guaranteed.
So there's three things I always point out on whenever I do a console call and about security. There's your password. Everybody understands passwords. Your private key and your seed words. Those are the three things you never give out. Like you're being your own bank. This is your vault. So banks have vaults for a reason. The vault process is these three things. You do not give out the access to your safe. You don't give out the key to your safe deposit box. You don't give out the combination to your bank vault. You don't give out these things. So, and one last point, I know that MAC ID was mentioned. I'm sure some people are like, what does that mean? That's a machine address ID for a device. It's in the technical part. You don't need to know about that. But if you get a device, yes, you can wipe it for an Apple. So I just wanted to clarify that.
You can wipe it for an Apple. You can wipe it for Windows. You can wipe it for Linux. Well, Linux is, you got to set it up, but you can wipe it for an Android. Apple's just very simple, very easy to do, and it's really, really accurate at it happening.
And Patrick did mention a video I made about security with cell phone devices. I will be sure to link that up in the corner at one point during the segment so that people can watch that as well. Tim, did you have any thoughts on mobile devices or what you wanted to think about those?
Yeah, I didn't really have much to add on that point. You know, it's mainly generally used for like kind of a hot wallet type thing. At least in my experience, you know, most people will be using their phones for many applications. So it's kind of like almost like the wallet that you carry in your pocket, right? You wouldn't keep, you know, your entire savings account in your real wallet. So why would you keep all your coins in a hot wallet? So it's generally kind of just you approach it from a risk management perspective and say, unless I can be sure that this phone, you know, is 100% secure, which generally you can't, then you might not want to put, you know, more than X%, however much you calculate, you'd be willing to lose in a hot wallet, you know, theft scenario.
And Tim brings up a very good point here. When we're talking about mobile devices, we're talking about devices that are used for crypto only. If you use your personal cell phone for carrying crypto around, that's a different level of risk because there are things that you're having on your phone that you use a lot that you could get hacked from. So, Josh, I'll let you expand on that. Are there reasons that you wouldn't want to use your common cell phone to carry your crypto around with?
So here's a crypto only device. Here's a regular daily driver. Okay. So you have crypto only on that device that goes into your safe. If you have a daily driver, you can add a small amount of your crypto to it that you maybe want to spend or use or whatever, but keep the majority of it offline in that crypto only device. Put it somewhere that it cannot be touched by somebody else without significant hurdles to go through, kind of thing. And even then, again, if someone got into your safe or got into your safety deposit box or whatever, and they got the device, like I have different fail safes that will literally trigger if it's not properly, if you don't open it right, you know, if it's not me.
The bank is a whole different scenario because then you're insured at the bank, right? Where right now you're insuring your own self by your own, I guess the word would be, you know, a false sense of security, because as Tim said, you can never be 100% sure that it's safe, and unless you're 100% sure, you don't want to use it. So what I really heard Tim say was, don't store all your crypto on your phone. It's a very good idea.
That's exactly what I was saying, Patrick. Thank you.
And
put it on something else. I was gonna say, put it on something that's not the phone you use every day. You know.
Yeah, and to build upon that, when you use a crypto only mobile device, you wipe it clean, and you only put the crypto wallets on it. There's nothing else. You don't use it for any other purpose. It's just for storing crypto. And in the video I described, it never leaves your house. It's only on your Wi-Fi. It's literally locked into your house. And there's levels of security based upon that. So speaking of security, and just kind of putting a nice bow on this conversation, which has been fantastic, guys. I really appreciate the time here. But other than downloading, things from a bad website or going the wrong Telegram, what are some of the things that you can, or watching out for being a keyboard logger? Are there any things that you need to watch out for your coins or to keep people from stealing your assets? Josh, any thoughts there?
Well, it's kind of what we've kind of already covered with that. You can kind of lock down your network. You can make sure that you hide your Wi-Fi. You can make sure you ensure you have a password on your network. That kind of stuff. If you're on a public network and you need to use your laptop for anything, to do anything related to crypto, I would say for anything really, you could set up a VPN and use that. VPNs work for public networks. They're really great for protecting what you're doing within reason. At both ends of that connection, though, someone could be monitoring and see what you're doing. But while you're on that network, no one can be sniffing your traffic and pull what you're doing out of it and hop in the middle and do stuff. When you're at home, typically you don't need that because you're at home. It's your network. You're on that network. Unless someone's compromised another device on that network, which is possible. People go into nefarious websites, doing things they're not supposed to on the device and whatnot. If someone has access to the device inside your home network, then they can see what's going on those laptops as soon as they're on the network. Something that it's a little more cumbersome to set up, and you need to do your research on this, or reach out to me if you need to talk to me about it. I can go into more depth on it. And that is setting up a DMZ, or a demilitarized zone, inside of your network. And when your crypto only device pops online, it hits that network and not the other network that all the other devices are on. So it's completely segmented from the rest of the network. Those are some stuff you can do to ensure that your home network's a little more secure. But in general, just, write your keys down. We keep reiterating, write your keys down and don't give them out. Put them somewhere safe. And then you can secure your own personal network, whatever makes sense. You're cumbersome, however you want to go and actually go do that. Whether it's going to be a cumbersome steps like I just described, or if it's going to be some of the more simpler ones. But again, if your devices are at home, most of the time they're not going to get, they're not going to be, not be a problem there.
Yeah.
Patrick, any thoughts? DiviDaddy?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my final thought would be like, hey, Tim, watch this. Tim, how many Bitcoin do you own?
Yeah, that's why we don't answer that question.
Yeah. Hey, Tim, where do you keep your crypto? How do you store your crypto? Where do you keep it?
Yeah, I keep it all on my cell phone that I carry with me on a daily basis.
Guys, keep it secret, keep it safe. Just like, don't tell people things. If people don't know you have a phone that's got crypto on it, they won't try to get it. If people don't know that laptop sitting on your desk in the corner that you plug in every once in a while is a Calyx only laptop, they don't know to go to it. They're not looking for it. I think, wasn't it Lord of the Rings? Gandalf said, keep it secret, keep it safe.
Yep.
He was a wizard, right? So, I mean, keep it secret, keep it safe. Don't tell anyone about it. Don't talk to anyone about it. Don't share your security solutions. Don't tell people your cryptic key that you've encoded into your will with your private keys. Don't share anything with anybody ever.
I like to say I keep it in my head. It's it's up here.
Lots of ways to keep your own. There's lots of ways to keep your own security, and I think we've covered a lot of them. And I really appreciate the conversation, guys. But my final question is, I'm going to throw it to DiviDaddy, which is that going full circle to where we started about being your own bank and not your keys, not your coins. Is keeping crypto personally for everyone? Are there alternatives out there in the marketplace if you don't want to learn all these different security measures? If you're concerned about, you want to be in Bitcoin, you want to be in Ethereum, you want to be in all these different, you recognize that crypto is the future of money. Are there other ways to store it safely that you don't have to learn all these securities or have these things that keeping you up at night?
Yeah, I mean, there really are. So there are many different companies out there that are custodians that do a great job for you managing them. There's a trade-off, right? The trade-off is always, and there's varying degrees, not all of them, again, are created equal, how liquid everything is, how it's insured is a really big thing. There are lots of people out there that claim to have insurance on their custodial accounts, and they'll say things like a degree of insurance, and there are other companies that offer dollar for dollar insurance. There are people that have multi-signature level verification for their wallets, and there are people that don't, and you have no access to your coins. So there's always a give and take between how much control you have of your money and how protected it is. And that's a hard conversation because sometimes it rubs against the grain of crypto itself, which is own your keys, own your coins, which sounds really great. And it's like, it's sexy when you say it, but when you look at your phone and you go, oh my gosh, I invested in Bitcoin in 2017 and I had 10 Bitcoin and now Bitcoin's $200,000 a piece. You're going, do you really want to hold $2 million there? What is the cost and what is the benefit of going to a custodian? And there are really great solutions for custodians. I know that if you're part of the Bitcoin Ben network, you've heard a lot about Caleb and Brown, and I've never heard of anybody losing their money off of Caleb and Brown. They are a safe place to store your crypto. There are other companies like projects you guys and us are involved in with Viva, and they can hold your crypto as well. But like I said, everything comes out with a solution that you're going to have to weigh the options on. At the end of the day, if you feel comfortable holding your crypto and you feel comfortable holding that amount, if you set up some time and you really take the time to look at it correctly, you can hold the crypto yourself. But if you're not, there are many great solutions coming out. And I suspect we'll only see more competition as the adoption occurs. I think our options are going to become many, many more in the next few years.
I completely agree. And I think that that's a great way to wrap this up. I think there's just like there's many different wallets, many different coins, there's many different ways to store your crypto properly. And you can mitigate your risk by using all these different options. You can use laptops, you can use mobile devices, you can use a custodian. There's many different options. So for DiviDaddy and PapaJo and Tim, I really appreciate the time you guys spent. This has been a fantastic
Can I
conversation.
throw out one more thing? I don't want to
Sure.
forget. I have to.
Sure.
Because once again, custodians, we need to differentiate from exchanges.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Custodians,
Yes, please.
not exchangers. Holding your money in Coinbase and buying it at a 1% fee or 1.5% fee is not the same as buying real Bitcoin from Caleb and Brown at 3.5% with a discount, or from buying from Viva at like 1.5%. Either solution is going to have risk, but at least with these exchanges, get your coins off the exchanges. They're not yours. If you don't own your keys, you don't own your coins. With a custodian, they own your keys, you still own your coins. The only bad solution is where you don't own your keys and don't own your coins, because you don't actually have anything at all.
Absolutely. Always know where your keys are, know where your coins are, and knows what happens if anyone who's holding your coins for any reason, what happens if something goes wrong? How do you recover them? So you need to have that conversation with any custodian or any wallet or any security device. So there's plenty more to go in this conversation.
Yeah.
I think that we can have lots of more questions. So what I would like, and this video is going to be produced and it's going to be shared with everyone for free, of course. But if you have comments or questions, please put them down below. And I think we'll have a follow-on conversation, I'm sure, on more. This is an evolving situation, an evolving topic that more and more security, as DiviDaddy points out, more things are going to be coming in the marketplace. More questions will arise. And these conversations need to be had, and we'll continue them. So I appreciate the time. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Bitcoin Business Bureau. Again, thank you again for DiviDaddy, Tim, and PapaJo for joining me. And you'll find ProBitcoinSolutions and Aster Blockchain Consulting in the comments and in the description. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.